Let's do a cute little LARP Q&A. Hello! So for those of you who don't know me, or those of you who know me but don't know this part about me, my name is Tay and I am a LARPer. I have been LARPing now for about a year and a half, I would say, but in that time I've been to like 6 or 7 different events. I think as soon as I got the hang of it, I was like, when's the next event? When's the next event? So even though I'm not like a super veteran LARPer, I would definitely say like I've been around and like involved in the community enough that I've got like a proper good little taste of it. I would say more than my first taste. I've had my first little LARP meal by now, so I've got a good understanding of it. Over on my Instagram, I asked people to send me a bunch of questions that you would like answered, so I'm going to go through some of my favourite questions now, and maybe if you are new to LARP, give you a little bit more of a sense of LARP is about, and if you're a LARPer, then we'll just keep the spirit going, even though LARP season has officially finished. But we have player events and other little tidbit events to tie us over until the next LARP season. I like this question. For those who are a little bit nervous about attempting to LARP, where would you even start? What would I recommend? So number one is that I definitely think that if you are nervous about LARPing or you don't have much like comfortability in roleplay yet, I would actually like, and this is like a bit of an unpopular opinion, so don't hold any of this as like rule of thumb, but for me personally, I think that I might wait a little while before trying the huge 3,000 person, 4,000 person LARPs. They are phenomenal and amazing, but the problem with those is that you have to go out and find your own game. But there are lots of smaller LARPs where games that are kind of like happen around you and almost given to you for you to play out, rather than having to go out and try and find it yourself, which can seem very intimidating. I would recommend, if you are in the UK, something like iLARP, and the iLARPs are very much smaller than, say, Empire LARP. Empire LARP has about 3,000 people. iLARP has a much smaller number depending on the system you are playing, and also where for an event like Empire LARP you have to go out, find your game, and do a lot of like socializing and a lot of like really throwing yourself in there, all or nothing kind of LARP. These kind of smaller LARPs, iLARP and everything, and there are other ones as well, which I'll probably put here, and I'll ask my friends for some recommendations of like smaller LARPs too. What are the battles in LARP like? Okay, I'm gonna get really excited talking about this question. The battles, when I first, all right, so I'm getting ahead of myself in my own brain. Right, deep breath. Okay, right, slow down when you talk about things. Okay, so, against my own advice that I just gave in the last question, I actually did have Empire LARP as my first ever LARP, which is also why I kind of know to recommend that for a lot of people it would be very intimidating as a starter LARP. I was lucky enough that when I got there, I didn't have that nervousness before about going to LARP, and I didn't even know what to expect from LARP, so I thought that this was the norm before even going into it. I didn't really know about the smaller events, I didn't really know about the smaller systems. But yeah, so I went headfirst up to here LARPing as my first experience. And the number one thing when I first ever went to a LARP and I saw the battles, they were amazing, phenomenal. I truly believe that nothing will get you into character and suspend your disbelief like combat. Imagine this. Okay, let me paint the picture. There is a giant sentinel gate, and this is like a two stone pillars, and outside of this are rows and rows of soldiers, knights, fighters, all armored up, all holding weapons, and they're all like pumped up. They know that they have a strong chance that they are going to die. They know they might die. And they're sitting there and they're like singing war songs, actual themed war songs, and the whole line is singing along with them. Oh, and they're chanting, and there's drums playing, like big drums beating, and then the gate opens and you're told to go inside, and your heart is beating every single time because you know that you might just die every time. Like, I've had some friends, like friends who are characters, die that I thought were like immortal. You know, it's like when you watch Lord of the Rings and you're like, Frodo can't die, there's no way. You know, he has plot armor, he's too important. That doesn't happen with LARP. There is no plot armor. It doesn't matter how important you are. You can still just die. And that means that in battle, the stakes are so high. So everyone is fighting for their lives, and the other team, the monsters, are fighting with everything that they have as well, because they know the harder they fight, the better game that the other soldier characters have. The other, like, yeah. So battles are by far a lot of people's, and definitely my favorite part about LARP, because it is tense, it is scary, it is difficult at times as well, and it completely suspends your disbelief. You are scared for your very life, as if your character dies and a referee is just gonna like put you behind a tree and just shoot you in the head if you die. That is what it feels like sometimes, that you really are like fighting for your whole life and your friends' lives as well. I was saying this recently to a friend of mine, that sometimes your character's friends dying hurts more than the player who's died, because it's like they just have a new character now. It's like, oh well, okay, I guess this character that I was playing died. Oh well, I can play this character. But your friends who loved this character, who were friends and family with this character, now have to mourn this character. Like, we will miss them with every part of ourselves, and we will truly feel the loss. And that is what makes battles so phenomenal. Are there any smells that particularly remind me of LARP? I think I speak for every LARPer here who has been to a few events, that the smell of leather, but it's not just leather, it's like leather that's like a little bit old, maybe like has been wet and then dried at some point, or just like a little bit like musty. LARP, I wish that I could explain the smell of LARP and put it in a candle and burn it when I get sad. It's like when I imagine the smell of LARP, it's like leather that's been rubbed in dirt, left out in the rain, dried, and then like sat around for like 3 days. And that smell is LARP. So whenever I smell leather, old leather, gross leather, that reminds me of LARP. And also now more the smell of rain is quite a strange one, because I've been to quite a few rainy events now, and the smell of rain actually brings me back to LARP a little bit, especially when it goes on grass. So rain on grass and old leather are two smells which will immediately transport me back to elf brain, basically. What was something that was different to LARP than what I imagined? So when I first went LARPing, I knew it would be kind of like a bunch of like nerdy people just kind of like playing this game together. What I didn't know is that afterwards, people that saw me at the event, interacted with me at the event, would ask for my social media, and that they would add me on Facebook, they would talk about the game with me, they would have fun, they would invite me to Discord servers, we would have game nights, and that I would meet literally my best friends in the entire world and be welcomed into a whole new community that I was not expecting even a little bit. I didn't know that the LARP community was just that. Such an unbelievable sense of community. When the costumes come off and the real people come out, everyone still loves each other like the characters do. And I was not expecting the community that I got from LARP at all. And yeah, it's been great to have a new hobby. Yes, it's been amazing fun to play the events, but the community and the friends that I gained was something that I never, ever in a million years expected to come out of LARP. And honestly, it was like pretty life-changing to finally have those kind of like secure, safe and lovely connections that I kind of didn't realize that I was missing either. And LARP gave me that. And when I went in to play the game, I was like, yeah, let's go prance around and pretend to be a little elf. I was not expecting to meet the people that I met. And these people truly, after such a small time and knowing them, I believe will be like some friends that I will hold for life. And I really mean that with like my whole heart and my whole chest. So I never expected that to come out of LARP, and I'm incredibly and eternally grateful that it did. Picking a character that suits you best. So, again, might be a bit of an unpopular opinion, but if you are a new LARPer, I wouldn't try and do anything super mega crazy for your first time LARPing. I mean, I know that I'm supposed to say here, like, yeah, do whatever you want to do whatever your heart feels like. Yes, you absolutely should, and if you feel capable of it, 100%. But if you are maybe a bit newer to roleplay or a bit nervous about LARP or haven't felt it out, I would actually do a character which you've either played before in Dungeons and Dragons, so you kind of already know the feel of them, or play a character which is like some of your traits but just amped up. I would say, like, maybe for your first ever character, try not to go so far removed from your own identity. The reason being, it's really, really difficult to keep up for the length of time that LARP expects you to do it for. I've seen some insanely amazing role players who will put on accents and different personalities and different characteristics for the whole time that they are LARPing, and it is done phenomenally. But also, like, I'm sitting there squinting at them like, how do you do this? Because as soon as that timeout bell rings, they're just like, they use their normal voice, and I'm like, whoa, who are you? Hang on, I don't know you, what? So I do find that the best kind of character is one which is yourself, but then have particular characteristics amped. So for example, my character in LARP is very, very flirty, very, very cheeky. I'm quite flirty and cheeky in real life, but where I might be like a 3 with this characteristic in real life, I'm like a 13 in LARP. So I've just taken those little bits that I like and just made them fun. And I've been able to keep that up and play it realistically, and it's just been so much fun. So I would say, settling on a character that you like, I would say don't go too crazy with it unless you feel incredibly confident in your ability to do so. Otherwise, play it fun. And you're not going to have fun if you're trying to think about too many things down to like, oh, well, I'm going to pick a character who walks like this the whole time and only walks like this, because then your game is going to be stuck. You're not going to be thinking about fun things. You're going to, oh, am I keeping up my walk? Am I still doing my walk? Okay, yeah, I've still got my walk. Yep, still got my walk. Oh, did I just miss a good piece of information or a good conversation here? Well, that's okay, because I've got my character walk. I've got my character walk, and you're not going to have fun like that. You will have fun. The game will still be magical, even if your character is a little bit ordinary, because an ordinary character in a magical world is still a magical character by nature of their setting. So I wouldn't even put so much emphasis on making your first character perfect, because you will get a feel for them and you will get a feel for what you want to do in games and what you want your character to be like just by playing it the first few times. And then you can just retire your character or give them a dramatic death and then come out with some big, flamboyant, huge, amazing character that you know you can keep up with. So that would be my advice for settling on a character, especially for first-time players. How do you get to play the bad guys? This is a really, really fun question, because there's actually a number of ways that you can totally play a bad guy. The easiest ways to do it are to be part of something called a crew. A LARP crew are people who are not players. They're not players. Instead, they take on different roles of like NPCs and monsters. So if you're fighting, you might be fighting against crew members of the crew, rather than other players. Sometimes you'll be playing against other players, sometimes they'll be on the special crew team. Other times you'll be playing NPCs as crews, and often these are the bad guys. They're the guys that are pushing forward the plot lines in particular areas, and the antagonists and the big bads. This is especially true if you pick to crew in these smaller LARPs who need these big bads, and often you can play this NPC continuously through all of the time that you're crewing, and that's honestly a lot of fun, and you get to be part of making game for other players. The other way to do it is, I know this from Empire LARP at least, and one day your nation will be doing one of the big battles, and on the day that you're not battling, you're expected to play one of the monsters, and vice versa. Then you will be battling and the other nations will be monstering. That way there's almost always as many players as there are monsters, and it always makes for a good fight. You can really get into monstering. You can taunt the other players. You can be like, hey, you, yeah, you, hero, you don't look much like a hero, and you can even insult their mother if you feel like, you know, you want to do that. So the best way to do it is just be involved with the battles or being involved with the crew. The other way to do it is playing an in-character bad guy. Nobody is stopping you from doing this in systems like Empire LARP, where it's kind of like every player for themselves. You can play like a drug lord, you can absolutely play like a murderer or an assassin for hire. The only thing that's stopping you is other players. They might arrest you, they might choose not to play with you. They might go ahead and be like, start spreading rumors about you of like, no, don't interact with him, he killed this person's brother. There's also in Empire LARP and a lot of other bigger LARPs, there are law enforcement systems. The one in Empire LARP is called the militia, and the militia will hunt down crimes, will do investigations, and these are all players. So this isn't any kind of like crew or game makers, these are all just players now playing the roles of police officers basically, and they will stop you if you are a big bad, but otherwise you go ahead and become a drug lord. I actually spent a good chunk of last year dealing drugs. I dealt drugs for about 2 events. Didn't make as much money as I thought, so went back to fortune telling, which technically is also heresy in the Empire universe. So in a lot of ways I play a pretty bad character. She's very like abrasive, she's very I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I love you, I would send an army out for you. You can go 6 feet under. You, I would go to hell and back to drag you back to this earth. She's very like polarized in terms of her views of people, and this gets her in a lot of trouble. Yeah, she's very like stabby, knife heavy, always has some kind of weapon on her, will not back down from a fight or an argument, sells secrets, sells drugs, and breaks all kinds of religious laws of the universe. I pretty much play a bad guy already, and it's a lot of fun. I've gotten into a little bit of trouble a couple times for it, but overall, I'm still here, I'm still kicking, although I might have to start behaving. So, there's that. So, confession, I have only managed to play Empire LARP games and only play the Empire LARP system so far. Even though I absolutely have adored LARP, I really do want to branch out. So, some other games that I really want to play are Flying Lead, which is a cowboy LARP, which seems phenomenal. Also, I think in like November or something, there's another one which is called Flying Lead Nightmare, which is like spooky cowboy horror LARP. The other one is Hoist the Colours, which is a pirate LARP that I've heard nothing but good things about, which seems so fun. Another one is Second Breakfast, and Second Breakfast is a hobbit LARP, a hobbit themed LARP, where you are a little hobbit in the Shire with lots of other hobbits, and there's actually like very little to no threat in Second Breakfast at all. The most like disastrous thing that's going to happen to you is that Mrs. Peppermint Pies has gone missing. So go find her pies. Go find Miss Peppermint's pies. And then you have to go search the whole of the Shire looking for clues of where the pies are gone. And it just seems like so much fun. Some other ones that I really do want to try called Neo-Theory Saga, and apparently this LARP like tailors a lot to particular players, so in that sense it's more like live action role playing a D&D campaign, which seems really cool. Another one that I really do want to try is any kind of like, oh, there's one called Giovanni, which is quite interesting. It's like a vampire LARP, which is pretty cool, although I've heard it's like very expensive for tickets. I've heard it's very worth it though, because you do get like a completely tailor-made character and completely tailor-made stories. So I think that one's maybe like a bucket list LARP. There's also a few LARPs which I kind of have no interest in trying, but I'll keep these up there for now because I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but yeah, so that's my current list of things that I'm looking to try definitely in next year's LARP season. Okay, right, I am going to end this video here because sometimes I can feel my brain going a little bit faster than my words are coming out, and my words just stop making sense because my brain is just going too fast. And this often happens when I'm talking about things that I really love and really enjoy talking about, and it's fun, I love it, but I kind of need to go slow down my brain a bit. I don't know if anyone else has this, but I know that if I carry on answering questions and talking about things, I'm just going to end up a million miles an hour, and then the calm, centered version of me editing this video is just going to be like, hey, I can't cut this anywhere. You're not making any sense here and I can't correct you. What am I supposed to do? So in honor of the Tay of Friday, whose job is going to be to edit all of these videos, I'm actually going to end it here so that I can go slow down my brain a bit. Right. Yes. I appreciate you. Thank you for sending in the questions, and I really hope that if you are a LARPer, you felt that I did the questions justice, and if you're new to LARP, I hope that I offered some kind of help in way of like getting started or making new characters or anything like that. So I appreciate you. You're amazing. Thank you for listening and entertaining my rambles for this long. I will see you very, very soon. Thank you, and thank you.